Welcome back, everyone. It's been a while. Look, I hope you're okay. I will say again, and I've said it countless times, for those of you who are watching this on YouTube, which will be all of you because it only gets posted on YouTube, I do sort of regular weekly, fortnightly little videos on the Facebook channel. So if you're not following us on Facebook, and nearly 10,000 of you are, if you're not following us on Facebook, then pop over there and you'll get sort of more regular updates from the Canary Room. So welcome back. The camera has been out. We had a trip last time out to the Greenfinches of Kev Taylor. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed spending time with Kev. But today I thought I'd do a special little episode of managing the nests, the first round, the transition into the second round, and weaning youngsters. So I said to you when I left your screens in December last year that it wouldn't be the last you've heard of me, and so look, everyone, you know what to do. Grab yourself a cuppa, sit back, and as always, enjoy the show. So it's the beginning of May as I film this, and what I really wanted to cover was not so much an update from the room. There will be an episode later on in the year, Canary keeping month by month, which I'm filming a little segment each month for you to look forward to. But really wanted to talk today about managing the nest, managing the first round, the weaning process, and transitioning into the second round of bird breeding. So mindful to everyone that, you know, we get viewers from all over the globe, which I'm absolutely delighted for. I know our friends down under are moving into their winter, and we've got temperatures today in the room of 23.8 degrees, so that's pretty much our summer, everyone. The room is insulated, it's nice and cool. So we started, our first chicks hatched at the end of March. It was, I think, the last day in March that they hatched, or 30th or 31st that our first chicks arrived. And you know, for me, that's always an exciting time. It's always quite a nervous time as well, with running with a lot of young hens, sort of first-time hens. You never quite know how they're going to take to parenthood, and it's fair to say that, you know, some of them take to it really well, and some of them don't. I do use, and I have been using hand-rearing food just to top up some of the young. As the transition into the sort of second round comes, I find that I need to do that less and less. But nest management is really important, and, you know, keeping an eye on the younger. There's about 30 hens in here. We've hatched close to 55 young so far this year. Keeping an eye on the young is really important, and watching the young develop. One of the things, obviously, that I do certainly with the fives is I take the eggs away and I store them in a drawer, egg drawer. And the reason I take them away is so that all the young hatch simultaneously. What I want them to do is hatch at the same time, because that gives the hen a fighting chance of being able to rear them successfully. Now, in the Canary Room, I have a mixture of pairs and single hens. I find both will rear. Pairs rear fine. Sometimes you'll get a cockbird that will help in the rearing, and a little bit of footage here, you know, that shows a cockbird feeding, and that's great because the young are getting fed by a cock and a hen. And sometimes you'll only get the hen rearing even if there's a cockbird in there, and sometimes the cockbird can be a bit of a nuisance, so you do have to keep an eye on that. The sort of process for me, I use front hanging cages in the Canary Room. I've used those for a number of years here. In fact, ever since I've had these new cages from Dave Rand's, which have been fantastic for me. So I use those. That enables me to see quite easily whether there are eggs in the nest. And as I say, once those eggs are there, I'll take them out. What I also do is on this bank of wall behind me, I've got 6 cockbirds, and they're running with a multiplicity of hens. And what I'll do is I'll run the cockbird in. Generally speaking, they'll tread, they'll mate, and within sort of 7 to 10 days after that first mating, you'll normally expect to see the eggs appear, and in that time there's a good chance that they'll be fertile. But look, canary breeders and breeders of birds around the globe will know there are no guarantees, and one of the things that I've seen hens being mated lots of times, laying 5 eggs, only 2 or 3 of them have been fertile. I've seen hens basically fight the cockbirds like tigers, yet all 5 eggs have been full, so it just seems strange. So nest management first and foremost. So nest management, the fife most canaries will hatch between 13 and 15 days. I have had some challenges with dead in shell. The humidity's okay in here, so sometimes that can be hens not sitting properly, being spooked off at night. Variety of different reasons for dead in shell. But you've got to just take it on the chin and keep moving forward. And one of the things about the entire nest management breeding season, weaning as such, is look, you're going to be faced with heartache, and there's nothing more frustrating than losing hens, losing chicks. I have had one hen go egg bound. I managed to pull around by just sort of putting her on warmth, giving her some more calcium. And fortunately, she's rearing a young now, so everything went okay there. So you set eggs. After about 14 days, this happens. New life, and that for me is always one of the great things about canary keeping, seeing that new life come into the world. And the canary chicks can grow quite quickly, and often, depending on your time, how much time you can spend in the room, you're looking to see the birds get fed. Now, to start with, I only put a very little bit of egg food in an egg food drawer and a little bit of soak seed, and I will add some watercress, and I will add some broccoli after a couple of days as well, just to mix things up a little bit. You want to make sure that the birds are being fed. Now, often you can look in the crop and you'll see the crop just under the sort of the chin there. The crop is bulging with food. What you'll find, particularly in younger birds, is that those birds are digesting that food quite quickly. So the other thing I do, if there's no food in the crop, I check the belly. And what you'll often see, because the skin is translucent, particularly in clear birds, you'll be able to see the food actually in the belly. And that means those birds are being fed. Don't worry if you go into the room and the crops are empty. It doesn't mean necessarily the birds aren't being fed. I always check the bellies. First couple of days, I check the young at night, just to make sure the crops are full. And if there are birds that I don't think have got, or the bellies are full, if the birds that I don't think have been fed, then I have topped them up. And I top them up with, I'll just reach off camera with this, which is off Amazon. It's a little glass pipette syringe, just a little droplet in there. I have the mixture sort of quite loose, so it's quite watery. So that's the first few days of nest management. What you start to find after sort of 10 to 14 days is the chicks will start fouling on the outside of the nests. And once the chicks are sort of fouling the nest rim, if you like, that can be an indicator. And as I say, I do it between 14 and 16 days, that it's time to move the nest down. Now, I move the nest down for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it doesn't make a difference really, but once the chicks are on the floor, they can get in and out of the nest, and in and out is the important point here. Often if a chick jumps the nest and it can't get back in, it will huddle in the corner of the room, it will call in the corner of the cage, it will call to be fed. So what I do is I drop the pans on the floor of the cage, and all I do with them is pop them into a little terracotta plant pot, and so they don't move, they don't shake, they just sit on the floor. And as you can see from here, hens will go straight down and feed them. And one of the things that I always do when I'm dropping the nests is I feed soak seeds straight away. Now, I'm relatively fortunate in that the vast majority of the work I do can be done from home. And when that is the case, I can do 3 feeds a day of egg food, so it's always fresh. And the reason I give sort of little and often is A, you don't want things to go stale, but B, the actual act of putting new food in, because the fifes are such inquisitive little birds, they will go generally feed and then generally feed the young as well. So I drop the nests between 14 and 16 days, and then I'll offer another pan. What I do when I'm offering that other pan is put nesting material in straight away. Now, there is one instance in the room where the hen has stripped the young. Fortunately, she doesn't look like she's pulled flights, or she doesn't look like she's pulled tail feathers, but she has stripped the back of them completely. So keep an eye to that. I give lots of new nesting material and a new nest site to try and encourage them to rebuild. When you've got pairs, generally the cock will take over feeding. What you'll often see is the young starting to pick up themselves, and at that stage I'll put in the cage, I'll make sure I've got sort of broccoli and watercress, as well as I'll add soak seed into the egg food mix, into the egg food drawer, so the young can sort of peck away. And that's really the kind of the final stage of the whole nest management and weaning process, is ensuring that the birds are picking up, and they're not just picking up, but they are feeding themselves comfortably. Now, what I do is I use cages which are below the main set of breeding cages as weaning cages, and what I like to do, you can see a couple of shots here. First thing, give them a deep clean. Beauty of these cages from Dave Rand's is quick spray of I was going to say antiperspirant, but I don't mean that, I mean disinfectant. So quick spray of disinfectant right through, take the drawers out, take the perches out, take everything out, give them a good wash down, and basically you've created a really clean environment for the birds to go to. Now, what I do, which differs from some fanciers, including my partner in Barnsley, Gerald, I've got a little bit of footage of Gerald weaning young here, and what Gerald does is he puts them straight onto sawdust. I don't. I put them onto newspaper, which I change daily for the first week or two. I will put one perch in for the first week, it's low down, and when I'm weaning the young birds, I put seed on. Now, I put both a tonic seed on and I put a mixed canary seed on. I don't anticipate the birds are going to eat either, to be fair. They will generally feed on the soak seed and the egg food mix. Again, I'm changing that at least twice, maybe 3 times a day if I'm at home, which I often am. So that gets changed 3 times a day. First day I take them away, I give them a little bit of apple. And again, that's sort of sugar. And the other thing I do is the time I take them away. So what I always do is take them away early afternoon. So they've had a couple of morning feeds, and I've not taken them away until I know and I'm absolutely certain that they are feeding themselves. What you don't want to do is go through the sort of 22, 23, 4-week process, take a bird away too early because you've got fixed in your mind that it's 22 days or it's 23 days. Birds develop at different rates. I've had birds which have been 18 days old before, which you could have taken away. I didn't, but you could have done. And I've had birds, and particularly with the heavier bred varieties, I've had birds which I've left for sort of 30, 31 days before I've moved them. What's really important is those birds are feeding themselves. Now, so far in the canary room, there are 13 weaned chicks at this moment in time. Very quickly that will become 16, and I wean them in batches, ideally nestmates. So if you've got 4 in a nest, that's perfect. If you haven't and you need to move a few around, that's no problem at all either. But wean them in batches where you are able to. And the final thing, so with the Fife Canaries, I don't close ring them. I do with the Norwich, and obviously I do with the native British finches, but I don't with the Fife Canaries. So the final thing I do as I'm weaning the chicks is I ring them and I write the ring numbers down and the cages and the birds that they're off, just to keep a record of it. Now, in terms of that overall nest management, one of the things, and cage management really, one of the things I'm always mindful of before I drop the pans is I will give the bedding on the floor of the cage a really good clean, and I'll scrape the perches. And that's just so that when you've got young fifes sort of coming out of the nest for the first time, there isn't, stale food on the floor. There's always going to be an element of it, and you need to ensure that the birds have got their own sort of defence system built up. But I make sure that routinely the drinkers are disinfected and cleaned and fresh water's available to them. And I will give the cage floors a clean as well. So listen, everyone, it's great to be back, albeit fleetingly. Across the rest of the year, as I mentioned at the outset today, I am filming a couple of specials. There will be some more on the road trips as well. So look forward to those. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, and now 21,000 of you have, so a massive thank you for that. Please consider giving a subscribe. If you've enjoyed the video, hit a like as well. Until next time, everyone, take care.